everyone. We're back. I'm Doi here. I am the host of the Get Free and Fulfilled podcast. We're going live, coming on Facebook and YouTube. And today I have Aldwyn Altuney. She is a media queen. She is a TV host, a speaker, photojournalist. I mean, she's been doing so much and she has a lot going on. And she's also actually an author of multiple international best-selling books. She is passionate about inspiring people and just like bringing more good news, which I think the world needs. So thank you for that, Aldwyn. She's also an animal activist and she's raising awareness and appreciation for animals. So welcome, Aldwyn. Happy to have you here all the way
Thank
from
you so much.
Australia.
Thank you so much, Aram. Great to be here.
So I saw on your bio also that you love performing in comedy duo, which I thought was really interesting.
Yes, yes. Well, I've always liked to have a good laugh, and when I haven't been depressed in the past, because I have had issues with depression over the years, and I found comedy is a great way to overcome depression. And a few years ago, a girlfriend of mine, Tracy Corman, who runs Tooth Company, her and I have actually both had depression over the years, and we're very close friends. We've been good friends for over 15 years. And we had this idea to help inspire people on the Gold Coast in Australia to overcome depression, particularly in business. And we started the Gold Coast Business Laughter Club. And at the time, we had comedians that were coming along to our live events. This is before COVID. 2018, we set this up. And then somehow we started a duo through it. We just, because every time we get together, we just crack each other up. And we got together and we thought, okay, let's do a duo. Let's be part of the comedy act here, because we were sort of emceeing and having fun with it anyway. And so we started the Fiddly Gigglers, is what we call it. It's interesting because some people say the Fiddly Jigglers, and we're both quite well endowed. And so it's interesting, the fiddly jigglers. It's not the Fiddly Jigglers, it's the fiddly
That's
gigglers.
funny.
And we say hitting the GC spot, which stands for Gold Coast. So we do have a lot of fun, and we made a reappearance recently on the 15th Animal Action event that I ran online, the Animal Action Day for Dogs. We just did a 7-hour live stream with 15 performers and speakers from all over the world, including one from LA. That was on Animal Action events on Facebook. It's been streamed to there and also to Media Queen TV. And we came back and we actually sang some dog songs, and we never know what the Fiddly Gigglers are going to quite turn up like. We have been known to wear different coloured wigs and all sorts of funny glasses, and we tend to give people the clap quite a lot as well. So we have our little clapper here, and we do like to give people the clap quite often and wake people up and get people smiling, and it's a lot of fun.
Wow,
And
that sounds awesome.
and we love it. So we kind of fell into that one, although, we do love it. And we have the other serious side where we both run businesses, and there's times that we've had our low moments. And I actually interviewed Tracy for Media Queen TV a few years ago, and we did an interview about how to overcome abuse and depression. And for anyone who has been feeling depressed or is feeling low, as I know there are a lot of people challenged at the moment with what's going on in the world,
Mhm.
it is a great interview to watch, because we give some fantastic ideas on how we overcame depression in our lives. And, simple things such as getting into gratitude and getting out in the sun. Or one thing I love is actually getting into the ocean and body surfing. I love being on the Gold Coast right near the beach. We have
Mhm.
37 kilometres of beaches here. It's a very popular tourist destination in Australia on the Gold Coast. It's a bit like Miami in America. A lot of people love that, and some beautiful waterside places as well in LA. And, America's got some gorgeous places as well. So here we're very well known for our surfing and for the ocean, and it's one thing that brings me a lot of joy. Another great thing I love is yoga,
Yoga.
meditation. There's so many things. Getting creative, cooking is a great thing to do. So we talk about all these simple little strategies
Mhm.
about how you can overcome depression. And there's different reasons why people have depression. One main thing is mainstream media. Mainstream media, if you watch too much mainstream media and you believe everything that is in the mainstream media, you will potentially end up depressed and could end up suicidal. And in fact, the stats are right now about 1 million people a year worldwide normally take their own lives. And through COVID, that has actually increased 4 times through COVID. So we've had
And
more people
how,
die.
like, what have you been doing with that? What was your role, like, sort of like changing that? I know you mentioned that you
Yeah.
basically doing the opposite of that, sharing good news. What is that like?
Yes, yes. I'm all about inspiring more truth and good news in the world. And I do believe that we need to be very conscious of the media that we consume and the news that we consume and the stories that we tell ourselves as well, right? And so mainstream media, having been in the media for, I've actually got 38 years media experience, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, as a photojournalist. So I've worked in the media. I've seen the hidden agendas. I've seen that there is a lot of fake news out there, unfortunately. There's a lot going on behind the scenes. And now we're at a time, actually, since 2004, Facebook started in 2004. And now we have, out of the 7.8 billion people on the planet, we have about 3.8 billion active social media users now. So we have half the world's population on social media, on many different platforms. And we now have alternative media, a lot of alternative media out there now. We have good news channels such as Good News Network, Sunny Skies News. We have news.com.au that has a good news section. In fact, a lot of mainstream media also have good news sections, but we just don't hear it as the first thing we hear generally when we put on the news.
Yeah.
But if you go to their websites, you will see there's good news sections on a lot of different websites. So it's a matter of getting conscious to that. And so something I did in 2018, I've actually had 4 friends take their own lives, which is another reason I'm really passionate about helping to share more good news, because it shifts your whole consciousness. It shifts how you do life when you focus on more things you've been grateful for and focus on, the great things happening in the world as opposed to the dark things. And I mean, it's like the yin yang of life. There's always going to be the dark forces there. However, how can we maintain more of being in the light, less of the dark, right? Because we're gonna go to those places occasionally, but how do we come out of it? So what I did in 2018, on the 8th of the 8th, 2018, after my 4th friend suicided before the age of 45, I decided to start a Good News Day. And so on that day, every single year, we celebrate good news. And then through COVID, I started a global good news challenge, which is a Facebook Live or live video challenge every month. We have different challenges where people just get online and they share via video, share their name, what they do, 3 things they're grateful for, and a piece of good news. And then we share that around the place as well. And it immediately lifts their vibration, and it lifts the vibration of people who are seeing that good news. Plus, it helps people connect with each other and get to know each other better. People are leaving a legacy with every video they put out there. And a lot of people are actually getting business out of it as well, which was not the original intention. However, that has been happening naturally as people have been sharing themselves more, which is really, really cool.
That's awesome. Talking about lifting vibrations, you and I spoke about it last time, and you mentioned how you do your own work to personally stay aware of the vibration you are in that moment. Tell us a little bit about that. How do you do that?
Yes, thank you, Ram. Well, I want to point out this amazing diagram right here. I'm quite a visual person. I like to look at things visually. Now, I have heard of Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness. I've heard of this before, but until I actually saw this visual, it didn't quite sink in, right? Now, about 100 years ago, Dr. Hawkins scientifically proved that we vibrate at different frequencies, and we are actually 99.99999% energy, frequency, and vibration. And when we get into different emotions, we actually vibrate at different frequencies. And so here, you might have heard a lot of people say you're coming from love or fear. Well, love, when you're in love, you're right up here. They say love and above, 500 and above. So when you're vibrating at love, you're actually at 528 megahertz is what you're vibrating at. When you get into joy and gratitude with things that you love, things that make you smile, comedy, etc., you're at 540 megahertz. Peace here is at 600 megahertz, and the highest vibration you'll feel as a human being is 700 to 1,000 megahertz, 700 plus, right? Now, when we get into fear down here, which a lot of the world right now is in fear because of the state of the world and certain things that are going on that we can't control, fear is vibrating at 100 right down here. And then grief is 75, we've got guilt is 30, and the lowest, other than being dead at 0, is 20, which is shame. So shame and guilt are 2 of the very lowest vibrations. Right now, the world is vibrating here. It's vibrating between 75 to 100 megahertz at the moment. So being very conscious of this diagram, which I actually got at a Dr. Espen event, at the Quantum Advanced event, I got this booklet. And it has been around for ages. It's got, so you can see Sir David Hawkins right
Mm.
there. It says here he's an internationally renowned spiritual teacher, psychiatrist, physician, researcher, lecturer, and developer of the widely known map of consciousness. And you will be able to find these online too if you look up Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness. Now, this also aligns with your chakras, right? With all your chakras, your chakra colors, and your energy points. So a lot of people are trapped down here in this section. A lot of people are trapped, which is usually, from the belly and below, right? From your belly and below in your body. A lot of people have a lot of energy trapped down here, a lot of fear, a lot of anger, sadness, etc., trapped in those areas. So the more you can move through those things and lift your vibration up to these levels, which really is very, very simple.
How are
Basically,
you able to do that? First of all, be aware of it and then do something about it. If you're
yes, being
vibrating
aware.
at a lower level.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Being aware of it is the very first step, right? Being aware of where you're vibrating. And this is something since I saw that I'm really aware now of where I'm vibrating at, and I'm aware of where other people are vibrating at. And, I don't tolerate so much negativity as I have in the past as well, because it also depends on your environment, the people you hang around, right?
So
If you
when
have
you're
friends,
vibrating at a low vibration, let's say negative, like, do you feel like negative emotions? Is that how you can tell?
I do. I actually get depressed. When I get into sadness, anger, I actually get depressed and I actually don't, I lose life force.
Mm.
And energy is life is energy, right? So the more energy we have, the more joy we feel, the more that we do things we love, the more fun we have, the more kindness we have for ourselves and others, the more peace we have with meditation. And meditation has been brilliant for me as well, I must say. Meditating was always something I was challenged with for a long time because, as a journalist for many years, I was so much in my head and so much mental activity going on, and such a high achiever. Often, there'd be this, you got to work hard for your money and, grind that was often going on. And so the more I've actually slowed down, in some ways, it's actually helped me speed up in life. And taking that time to meditate will put you at 600 megahertz, will put you in that peaceful state. And so for me, what's been great for me has been the meditating, which I do most days, not all days, but most days I'm meditating. I do yoga, which is also fantastic. I do things that are fun for me, such as I do Zumba class, or I do dance classes at the gym, or I go out to dance events. And I love getting into the ocean and getting my feet in the sand and going for long walks in nature, connecting with nature. Other things I love are animals. Of course, I've got a cat that I've had now for 12 years. He's 13 now and had high anxiety when I got him. When I adopted him, and with all the love that we've given him, he is so adorable now. He's absolutely gorgeous. We have possums that come onto our balcony here in Southport on the Gold Coast. So I have my house on this street, and we call it the happy house. The house has the most trees out of all the houses in the street. And so, of course, the animals come to where nature is, because we've
Yeah.
knocked down so much of nature. And so we get possums at night, we get birds. And I actually posted some photos up on Facebook and Instagram last night of the possum here that was eating banana on my balcony last night, and my cat was cuddled up in my arms. And those simple things just give me so much joy.
And how I love that because you sent me a video actually of them, and I thought that was so cute, just eating. I was like, oh wow, this is so cool. How
Yeah.
are you able to maintain your vibration throughout the day? Like, let's say something unexpected happen, or you get, news, because sometimes that's life. You get things happening
Mhm.
around you that are not so great that you could live without, basically, but it's part of life. How are you able to maintain a high level of vibration throughout whatever it is that's happening?
That's a great question. I think a big thing is looking at everything as a learning experience. And even though initially we may not see it as a learning experience, look for the learning in everything. So, for example, this happened just yesterday. I was with my family, and we parked over a yellow line once, which you're not meant to park in a yellow line. But it was in a private facility, and I thought, oh, we'll be fine. I said to my dad, oh, we'll be fine. Let's just park here. And we're only there for an hour, but we got a parking ticket, right? So it's $170 something parking ticket. And, my parents have a disability sticker, and there was the disability spot was taken, and, they have trouble walking very far, and that was the only spot available at the time, other than going for another 5-minute walk up the road to get a parking
Mhm.
spot. And as it turned out, we got this parking ticket. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm going to write a letter. I'll email a letter to the people there talking about my parents' health condition and how we need to be close. And just yesterday, I got a response saying that they're not accepting it and that we still need to pay the fine, right? And so there's a part of me that initially went, now that's just not fair. In fact, councils are illegal. They shouldn't even be there. And, there's a part of me going, well, maybe I'll get some common law advice on this. And then I thought, oh, it's only $170, just pay it. But, there's this thing, I think you have to choose your battles. And so the learning, of course, is don't park over a yellow line next time, right? And maybe next time I just drop my parents off and I go take the car somewhere else. Maybe that's the learning next time. So in future, we won't be parking over yellow lines. And next time I would drop my parents at the entrance of where we were going, and I will take the car and go and park it. So that would be a better way to go. But, we were actually rushing on that day too. So another learning from that is actually taking enough time to actually arrive to places gracefully rather than, racing around. So there's a few learnings in that. And sometimes these can be costly learnings. And that's only $170. There was another time that I put $40,000 into an investment without doing my due diligence. And it was with people I trusted, and the whole company folded and it was a complete sham. And that was another big learning for me, to do my due diligence. And for some people, it's 400,000. Some people, it's millions of dollars that they lose with different things like that. And I think always, whatever it is, it's there to teach us something. So if we can get a learning from it, then it's not a waste. It's not, because life is a journey, right? It's like a roller coaster ride, I say. There's going to be times we're going to be up here. There's going to be times we're down here. It's going to be times we're going round circles, or we feel like we are. And then sometimes we feel like we're going backwards, and sometimes we need to slow down to speed up. So it's about enjoying the journey wherever that goes. And with all the little twists and turns that may happen, I do believe that everything happens for a reason. And in that belief, I know that when I'm thrown curveballs in life, that there's some learning for me in that. There is some learning, and it's whether I choose to see that learning or whether I choose to hang on to the drama around the situation, right? Whether I hang on to it's not fair, and which common law is a really fantastic thing. I met a lawyer the other day. He hasn't lost any court cases in 15 years using common law. So our whole legal system, the banking system, there's so many things that are actually so corrupt out there, and I think it's important to learn our sovereign rights. And I will be speaking to this common law guy about that, because we're not even meant to be paying council rates. Like, there's so much that is just not, when you really look into common law and look at what's been going on in the world and this legal system we have, it's basically the world is run by corporations and a few elite people that are running the world that are very, very evil. And within the world, there are a lot of amazing people. And do your own research on that. I do recommend watch a documentary called Thrive. Will give you a really good understanding of what's been going on in the world. There's actually 2 documentaries done by an amazing couple in America. You can see a 2.5-hour Thrive 1, and now Thrive 2 has just come out since COVID, and it talks about free energy and how powerful we are as human beings, and how we've been shut down and how we've been conditioned to live in fear and to obey authority against our better knowledge, as sovereign human beings with God-given rights that have been taken away in many ways. And if people don't know common law, then we will just believe whatever we are told by government and by authority. And it's fascinating when you look into it.
How
And
do
once
you, like, on the flip side of that, how do you help people raise their vibration? It's like, because you know about that and you do it for yourself. Like, how does your work basically come into play to help people do that?
Yes. Well, there's a few ways I do it. So there's the Global Good News Challenge that happens monthly, where I
Mhm.
encourage people to get into gratitude, even if it's just for a few minutes. By, when we think about something we're grateful for, it's powerful. When we write it down, it's powerful. When we speak it out, it just takes it that whole next level. It's like you embody it when you speak out gratitude. So that's one way through the Global Good News Challenge. With my media clients, also a lot of my media clients, they want to put themselves out there, but a lot of fear comes up for them. So another way I work with them is I notice where they're at, and I have them see that they are amazing and that they have a phenomenal story to share. In fact, your X factor is your story. No one else has your story, right? Just by being born, we've beaten about 1 billion swimmers to get to the finish line. right? We are 1 in a billion just by being born. And it's about giving yourself permission to step up. And if you know 10% more than someone else, you can actually share it. So the more people do what they love and love what they do, the more they are lifting their vibration and they're lifting the vibration of those around them. And that takes overcoming fears. So I work with my clients in that way as well. I also lead them to different courses. Now, I'm not an expert with all things around raising vibration. However, I've done a hell of a lot of work on myself. I've invested $500,000 in my personal and business development since 2005. I have done a hell of a lot of work. And so I naturally share my learnings with my clients. So I have them see that they're amazing. We share more good news in the media as well. So any negative can be turned into a positive. So, for example, we put a press release out with a guy called Dr. Mir Janjua, one of my clients last year. He's actually now in Canada. He was on the Gold Coast. We put a press release out saying fear of COVID is making people sick. And then we had some simple strategies, some simple health strategies that people can do to actually help turn that around, such as getting your feet on the grass or on the ground, grounding yourself outside, getting some sunshine, 15 minutes of sunshine a day, eating healthy raw foods, breathing deeply, all these kind of things, simple things that we can do to shift our vibration. And exercise is fantastic. Whatever, like moving your body is really great. Getting creative, lots of different things like that we can do to lift our vibration. And the other thing is, when I notice people around me who are being negative, I sometimes joke and I say, is there anything else positive you'd like to say for today? Like I kind of joke with it. I kind of, and just have them see that they're getting into a negative frame, and then that helps shift things. But often people, it's like the iceberg. Often people operate in an unconscious way. 95% is unconscious, and a lot of people don't realize how they're operating. And I'm certainly, not brilliant at always, lifting my vibration higher. But what I do know is that in the past, when I've had depression, I sometimes in the past have been down and out for months at a time. Whereas nowadays, because I've had so much work done, so much inner work and outer work and, medicine and all sorts of different things, that I am now able to recognize very quickly when my vibration starts to drop, and also to nurture myself. And sometimes I just need to have a nap. Sometimes I feel, sometimes if I'm feeling a bit low through the day, just give myself permission to go have a nap, whether it be for 20 minutes or whatever. Just go and take some time out, because I do work
I feel
pretty
that's
hard.
actually very important because a lot of time it's like when you are in that momentum of feeling bad, meditation is probably not even going to do it because there's such a momentum of already feeling so bad.
Mm.
I think going to take a nap is like the perfect solution. Just,
Mm.
go to
Yes,
sleep.
just
Yeah.
Yes, taking some rest when needed. And sometimes I'll just get up and go to the beach. So I'll just really tune into my body as what I really need. I know that people say, ideally we should have sort of 7.5 hours sleep a night. I tend to average between 4.5 and 6 hours, which I know generally is not enough. And that's why I know sometimes it's good for me to have a nap, maybe in the afternoon if I'm feeling. Actually, this morning I felt like a nap, but I soldiered on. I just had an extra coffee and I kept going. So probably this afternoon, if I get to a point, I might think, okay, I'll have a half-hour nap. So I just work with my energy, with what I'm feeling, and tuning into my body. And sometimes it's just getting out in nature, just breathing some fresh air, and just looking out at the birds, appreciating nature around us. There is so much we can be grateful for, even despite the current situation with all the things we can't control around COVID.
Yeah, very true, very true. You mentioned doing what you love and loving what you do. How did you get to the place of figuring that part out, or, finding that for yourself? Because it's such a huge question for so many people.
Yes, it is a great question. And in fact, Bob Proctor, now I'd like to draw your attention to Bob Proctor, 86 years of age. He's an absolute legend when it comes to personal development, American guy, and he works to this day because he loves it, right?
Mm.
And he has a video on YouTube that says how to find your purpose. And he says, do what you love every single day. Do as much as you can of what you love. And so, how do I know when I'm doing something I love? Well, the first way I know is that time flies, time disappears, right? And the other thing is, if money wasn't an issue, would I still do that thing? And so what I do right now, like speaking to you right now, I'm totally in flow. I love speaking. I love presenting. I also love body surfing. I love getting creative. I love playing my ukulele and singing occasionally, and I love cooking. I love, there's so much that I absolutely love. Yoga, meditation now I love. And being open to receiving. For a long time, I was such a people pleaser. And I think this is a big thing for a lot of people, is that we tend to people please a lot, particularly women. And underneath it, subconsciously, it's that we want to be liked or we want to belong, and that's all great. It's great to be of service with others. However, also it's important to serve ourselves and to fill our own cup up so we can help others with the overflow. And I've really learned this one the hard way, because my lifestyle, I've realized as a journalist for many years, and I was actually bullied as a kid in Sydney. I was brought up with Greek, Turkish, and Ukrainian background in Sydney. And I was bullied by other kids because my food that I took to school was different. My name was different. And children can be incredibly cruel. And then I saw a sheep that I befriended in Turkey that had its throat cut in front of me. And that was absolutely traumatic at 6 years of age. And I lost my innocence then. I didn't feel I belonged in my family. I didn't feel I belonged at school. And it was quite a rocky road from there. My dad said anger is danger. And then at 8 years of age, he introduced me to table tennis. And as soon as I could see over a table tennis table, I started playing with my brother. And I found a way to release my anger through table tennis. And I used to just beat the hell out of the ball. I had this killer forehand smash. And then before long, with consistently playing table tennis, I actually became the champion in Australia at a very young age. And I was first featured in the media at age 10. This was one way I released my anger. Another way I released my anger was through poetry. And I used to write very angry poetry. And then I did a radio show at age 13 in Sydney with around this poetry that I used to do. And then I ended up doing a media degree. And I found the media a great way also to release my anger, because whatever I saw in society that I didn't like, such as, battery farming of chickens, such as duck shooting, female circumcision, the state of recycling on the planet, those kind of things. Whatever I saw that angered me or upset me in some way, I would write a story about it. And I thought, if I can just impact one person with this, then it's worth putting that out there. And so these are all things that I've naturally flowed into doing things that I've loved, even though I didn't want to be here on the planet for a long time. I found ways to release my anger without hurting anybody else, right? Which I think is important. And, anger is anger's right down there on the scale. Anger is at 150 on this scale, right? Anger's at 150. I know there's a lot of people very angry right now. So anger is just here. Anger's here at 150 when we feel anger. Sadness is a big one for me, and that's that's right down there as well. So noticing these energies and vibrations, and what is it that frustrates us, and how can we let go of those things? And in business, I've got a full-time assistant now who's been working with me for about 4 years, and I'm ready to take on another assistant. We're getting busier and busier in the business. It's actually, my business has tripled since COVID. It's actually been quite amazing what's happened since I've relaunched everything online with my media programs. And it's been just phenomenal connecting with people around the world. So I think also outsourcing things that we're not in flow with, I think, is really important. And actually freeing ourselves, for me particularly, freeing myself of things that I don't enjoy doing. Because whatever we don't enjoy doing, we will procrastinate, hesitate, deliberate. We're not going to want to do those things, like accounts, for example. Like accounts is something, doing taxes and things like that. Like I've always resisted that. I've just, it hasn't been about the money for me for a long time. I've always had this thing, love what you do, the money will come. Well, that's true. However, in business, you do need to focus on the money. And if you want to make a bigger difference in the world, then it's important to empower yourself financially so you can help more people and you can, help the planet. And one of my big goals is to have an animal sanctuary and to have endangered breeding programs for endangered animals, and to have a retreat space and to stream conscious media worldwide. So the clearer I get on that vision, which I actually have for quite a while, and the more I want that vision, the stronger my why, then the more likely I am to do more of what I love to help the greater good, right? So I think having a strong vision is really important too, because if you don't know where you're going, if you don't have any goals or inspiration or something to work towards, then generally you'll oscillate in life, and you'll go into survival mode and just earn enough to pay the bills and be like that. which yeah, it's important to get conscious to where we're operating at in life, and also not to make ourselves wrong about it, because it is a journey that, and there's no point beating yourself up about it, because then you're going into guilt. You're down to 30 megahertz, right? Whenever you make yourself wrong about anything. And being a high achiever, being a business person as I am and as you are, Aram, and many others, as business people, we're generally high achievers. We generally, we make things happen. We're movers and shakers and all of that kind of thing. So as that, it's important to take that time out also for self, to nurture and fill your own cup up. As I said, it's been absolutely crucial for me. So knowing what you love, how to
Yeah.
know what you love is that you absolutely love doing it, and time disappears. It's like when we are in love with somebody, when we fall in love with somebody, time just disappears when you're with that person.
Mhm.
It's the same kind of thing. It's like falling in love with yourself and the things that light you up and give you joy.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me actually, when you were mentioning the stuff that you don't love, find a way to sort of like outsource it. There's a book actually, The Who, Not the How, by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, and it's exactly about that. Like the stuff you don't have to know how to do every single thing. Like the stuff that you don't like whatsoever, that's probably going to slow you down, and you'll procrastinate around that. You can sort of like outsource it and give it to somebody else who would do it like way faster and way better than you would, and you can actually focus on what you love doing and loving what you do. So that's
Yes,
I agree. Yeah.
absolutely, being in flow and being in the zone. That's really the trick to life, I believe. That's how you're going to raise your vibration. The more in flow you are, the more you love your life, the more you're actually going to love yourself as well. And that love will then emanate and vibrate. It'll be like the drop in the ocean, right? The ripple effect will go out to your family, your friends, your community, whatever you put out in the media. It comes from your energy. You are at the center of it all, right? Your energy vibrates. So getting conscious to lifting your vibration, being the best version of you that you can be, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and, considering the wheel of life as well, because often, we work a lot in one area and we might neglect another area. So, bringing that balance into life around health, wealth, relationships, contribution, having a spiritual connection has been really big for me too. And this is not a religious, connection. This is about there is a universal energy that is within and all around us. And some people call it God, Buddha, Allah, whatever you want to call it. There is some phenomenal energy that we have access to. And they say we only use 10% of our brain. I think when you hear that statement, it's like 10% of our potential is all that we actually are really accessing at any time. And when you enter the quantum field and do more breath work, I've been doing a lot of DMT breath work lately too, which has been amazing. And the more of that I've done, the more I've been seeing my ancestors and knowing that I'm supported. And in fact, we have the DNA of 7 generations scientifically proven in our bodies. We have 7 generations of DNA. Now, if we think we have it hard now, bear a thought for those who went through war times, through World War One, World War Two. And, my great-grandparents in the Ukraine, they were kulaks. They were kulaks when Stalin took over in the early 1900s. And Stalin's men went to their property an hour out of Kiev. They were farmers, went to their property, and they said, get off your land. And they said, it's minus 20 degrees outside. Where are we going to go? And they took them out the front and they hung them out the front of their house. Meanwhile, their son, my granddad, was in another part of the Ukraine at the time, and he started to speak up against the government. And then his friends came to him and said, you better get out of here. Now they're coming to kill you as well. And so he ran away to Turkey, met my dad's mum, who was Greek, which is how I have Greek, Turkish, Ukrainian background. And so, imagine what those people went through in those times. And of course, then Ukraine, then they starved after that because they killed all the farmers off. So, the governments have actually killed more people in the history of the planet than any wars or anything else. The governments have killed more people than ever before. And you can look that up. That's a known statistic. It's phenomenal what has happened over time. And we can learn a lot from history. We can learn a lot from history. And I think even with COVID going on and all these things that we can't control, and there will always be things we can't control, right? So another thing is actually letting go of that and actually focusing on what you can control and having the best life you can with what you can control, which is how you show up every day, which is what you do every day with what you have available, right? how you
Yeah.
can become more self-sufficient. A lot of people looking at this now, having their own farms and being self-sufficient and getting off the grid and not being so reliant on the government, because what we're seeing at the moment is that, the governments have been crashing the economy. We've got so many businesses have been closing down and people have been getting depressed and suicidal because of the current state of the world. However, in that, some people have been pivoting. There's that magic word we've heard all through COVID. Some
Mhm.
people have pivoted, some businesses have gone through the roof, and in every single downturn in history there has been major opportunity.
I
So
think it really comes down to the focus also. Like, it's like, where are you focusing your mind, your energy, your vibrations? Where are you focusing? Because there's a bunch of things happening all around us all the time, positive, negative, whatever you might qualify it or label it as. But where is your focus? Like, I think it's such key to remember and sort of hone in on where are you focusing on, like consciously, intentionally. And yeah,
yes.
I believe in that. Like, your focus, where is it going? Because wherever your focus goes, your energy goes.
Yes, and what we
Oh,
think about and think about, we bring about as well.
yeah,
So the more
absolutely.
you are grateful for what you have, the more you will be given to be grateful for. It's such a simple thing, the whole gratitude thing, And this is the thing, is that people overcomplicate life, and it's because we've been brought up with a lot of media conditioning. And if you want to see more about that, watch the Out of Shadows documentary. It had about 10 million views when it came out during COVID last year, and then it got taken off YouTube, right? And this is the thing. Why is there so much media censorship if there's nothing to hide? Okay, so Out of Shadows documentary, you can still find it on Rumble and BitChute and some other places. Out of Shadows documentary, very, very powerful, done by two Hollywood stunt guys, talks about the media conditioning that has happened through Hollywood, through mainstream media, and the dramas. How many dramas do we have out there that people watch? And people watching drama all day, they're watching these Hollywood blockbuster films with so much drama, right? And they think that life has to be one big drama.
I got a question for you actually, and you mentioned earlier about being open to receiving. Like, how were you able to build that
Mm,
ability to receive? Because
yeah. Well,
oftentimes we can get pretty closed off. How were you able to open yourself up that way?
yes, it's been quite a journey, Aram. It's been quite a journey, I must say, and it continues to this day. But a really pivotal point for me was in 2006, I did the Landmark Forum. It is definitely the cheapest, most effective program I've done when it comes to personal development. And in that program, a big thing I realized is when people are nasty to me, like I used to really take it on board. If someone was nasty to me, I just thought, oh, what can I do to make it, to change this around or whatever. And then I realized that hurt people, and it's not actually about me at all, right? So through that program, I realized I actually found some self-love. I got some self-awareness. I realized that I had closed off the sheep incident when I was 6 years of age. I totally blocked that from my memory. And in Landmark, they're saying something happens in life and we make it mean something. And whatever we make it mean, we then go subconsciously looking for those experiences, right? So something happens again, we make it mean something. Okay, so 6 years of age, I saw the sheep slaughtered in Turkey. I made it mean that I can't trust anyone, can't trust my family, all men are bastards. I made it mean all these things, that I'm hopeless and helpless because I couldn't save the sheep. Right. Then fast forward 10 years, then I see my boyfriend sleep with my best friend in front of me right after I got kicked out of home at 15. So I went through quite a journey. I got into drugs and alcohol, and I was very self-destructive because I didn't love myself for a long time as a teenager. Very self-destructive, very rebellious. Kicked out of home at 15, moved into a crazy situation with a drummer whose mum was an alcoholic, his sister was dealing drugs. And in this situation, 6 months into this, I went from dux of my primary school to failing everything in year 11 at Mossman High School in Sydney. Turning point, boyfriend sleeping with best friend. Again, I make it mean, oh, see, all men are bastards, can't trust anyone. The minute you get too close to someone, you're going to get hurt, right? And then I ended up in tears, called my mum and said, I can't handle this anymore. And this is a thing, often we think the grass is greener on the other side, right? And I went back home. I changed my environment. I went to Forest High School. And then I worked my butt off and got into a media degree. And then I've had 20 odd years in the media, in TV, radio, and print since then. However, in that period, when I was in Canberra University, I met a guy who I was madly in love with. In fact, we were together for 4 years. We lived together for 3.5 years. Amazing relationship. I thought we'll definitely be together forever. And then 4 years into that, he lost the plot one night and strangled me and almost killed me. And again, see, the minute you get too close to someone, you're going to get hurt. All men are bastards. You see this conditioning that was running the show that I wasn't even conscious of. So in Landmark, I got conscious to it. I was like, oh my goodness, that's what's been going on, right? And then I went on, did many other Landmark courses and other programs as well. And, landmarkworldwide.com is the site to look at. It's all over the world. Started in America about 50 years ago. Very powerful program. And all the other programs I've done have been great too. Landmark's based on neuroscience and how we operate as human beings. So that's been a big one for me. Your question was around receiving. So the first step again is getting conscious, right? It's actually awareness. The next step, and I actually learned these 3 steps from Ben Harvey from Authentic Education. Awareness is the first one. The next one is acceptance, right? Accepting, hey, it is what it is, and it is what it is, and don't make yourself wrong about it. Just get that that's how life goes sometimes, and that's how my journey's been. And actually look for the gifts in that. Look for the learnings. Another things I can think of where things that I thought were really bad at the time have turned into opportunities. And I'll share another one in a moment. And the third step with that is appreciation. Looking for the gift in it. Okay, so awareness, acceptance, appreciation. They've been the 3 big tools. And being open to receiving has also been about self-love for me. It's been a journey of actually learning to love myself. And everything comes down to that at the end of the day. If you want more money in your life, if you want to have better relationships, better business, we must love ourselves first. And so many people go looking for love outside themselves, but it has to start as an inside job. And that is a process and it's a journey, and it can come in many different ways. Nurturing myself has been a big one. That's been a really big one for me, is meditating, yoga, getting to the beach, actually taking the time for myself, listening to my inner knowing and inner wisdom in my gut. We all have this inner knowledge and wisdom, and so many mentors I've sought, and I've been wanting all these mentors to give me the answers, and they can only share what they know, right? At the end of the day, it comes down to what feels good for me. And so recently I doubled my prices. Actually, I just went to a quantum wealth event on the weekend, and I sat there on the morning, and for a long time I've been saying, oh, these prices are, it should be double the price, should be double. I've been saying that for like 2 years. I've had this COVID special going on with my mass media mastery program, should be double the price. I was like, well, bloody double the price then. So I've just doubled the price, and I feel so good about it because I know it's worth it. There's nothing else out there like it that guarantees publicity, that's lifetime access even for the doubled price, that's even for that price, So now it's actually valuing myself more and charging for it. And I know that when people pay, they pay attention. They will lean in more and they will get more out of it as well. So it's about valuing ourselves in many different ways, and, not tolerating crap from people as well, because, whenever we're being abused, we're tolerating that abuse. No one can make us feel any way that we don't choose to feel. Right? We tolerate it often in life. And so it's just getting that, hey, where have I been tolerating abuse, whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and actually calling people out on their stuff when they, being straight with people, and don't worry about what people think, because you're always going to get your lovers and your haters in life. And the more you step up, you're going to have more people that love you and more people that hate you. Let's look at Donald Trump as a great example, right? Whatever
I
you think
think
of Donald Trump, people love him and people hate him, right? So
yeah.
it's being true to yourself.
And like our responses to things, like people will always have their thing, their opinions or whatever, but how much importance are we attaching to that? Like, where is, again, going back to the focus, like, am I more focused on how I'm feeling, or I'm more focused on how people are seeing me, for instance? It's like, stay true and connected to your inner being first, because I believe it's the most important connection that you can ever have. If you're truly connecting with your own inner being, all the other connections around you come easier.
Yes, so true, so true. And for a long time too, I felt really lonely. I felt really that I didn't belong anywhere, at home, in other environments. And even when I was sometimes in big networking groups, sometimes I just felt really alone. And then also the more inner work I've done, the more breath work, the more meditation, the more I've realized that my ancestors have been here with me the whole time. And I feel them with me now. I know they're here with me. And this is the thing, just as yours are with you, right? We have 7 generations in our DNA, right? Our ancestors are with us. The angels are with us, and we may not be able to see them, but I can definitely feel them. And I actually have seen them in different breathwork meditations I've done. I've seen my ancestors. So I know they're here, and that's the thing, is we're never alone. When we're connected with spirit, we are never alone. Spirit, God, whatever it is for you, you're never alone, and we are always being supported on our journey. And that was another big realization. The more I tapped into that, the more I got out of my head and into my heart and into my gut, right? The more connected I got,
That's
the
another
more,
practice too. It doesn't come overnight. It's like it's a practice. You have to intentionally
yes.
go in there and tap into it slowly but surely.
Exactly. It's like a meditation practice or yoga practice. It's not yoga perfect or meditation perfect. It's a practice, and it will be different every single day. You'll have, I know whenever I do yoga, some days I'm sore in some areas and some days I'm not in other areas. We're constantly ebbing and flowing. And I guess as human beings, if we weren't ebbing and flowing and going up and down in life, we wouldn't have the share market going up and down like this either, right? It's indicative of how people do life, the roller coaster ride of life. And the big trick, I think, is just enjoying the journey and looking for the gift. So I want to talk about a situation that happened in 2002. After about 20 years working as a journalist, I travelled all around Australia, worked in Mackay, Coffs Harbour, Toowoomba, Ipswich, Brisbane. Every year or two I was moving around to a different place working as a journalist. Then I came to the Gold Coast in 2000. Now, I've always loved the Gold Coast because I love the beaches. However, I only ever planned to be here about 1 or 2 years. I thought I'll stay here about 1 or 2 years and then I'll go live in America. I want to go live the American dream, right? And go work in the media over there. And so I applied for all these jobs. I was calling American media departments and, called so many places. And meanwhile, losing a lot of money in phone calls. Back then, there were no mobile phones back in, 2000, 2001, 2002. And then what happened in 2002, I actually went to rent a unit in Main Beach. And it was right on the water. And I gave this guy bond money, rent money. I gave him about $1,000 at the time, which as a journalist back then, that was about my whole weekly wage. I basically gave this guy who, as it turned out, the guy was actually renting. He did not own the place. He did not have management rights to it. He was renting the place and he was 3 weeks behind in his rent. And so when I turned up at the place, even though I got the keys off him and he gave me a receipt and I had the guy's mobile number, when I went back to the place, there was a mess everywhere. There was eggs in the sink. The door didn't close properly. And that's when I found out, when I knocked on the door next door and the lady said, talk to the manager. And the manager said, I can't believe it. That guy owed me 3 weeks rent. And I was so devastated. I just gave the guy the keys and I cried for about a week. I couldn't tell anyone what happened. I was so embarrassed about how I got ripped off by this con artist. And then I thought, right, that's it. I'm not going to rent anymore. And I bought a place in Southport and I'm still in that house to this day. And now 20 years on, I'm in the same house. I now call it the Happy House. I've fully renovated it. It's been a beautiful, safe space for so many other people that I've rented rooms to over the years. And now I absolutely love it here. But if that situation hadn't happened, then I wouldn't have bought this place and I wouldn't still be here to this day. And since then, I've traveled to America many times. I have family in America. I have family in the 4 parts of America, in Pennsylvania, in Orlando, in San Diego, and in Seattle. Love America. Traveled there for a month at a time for about 4 years in a row, and then COVID hit. And now I'm so grateful to be on the Gold Coast. So you see, it was a blessing in disguise. I may have lost $1,000, but if I go to sell my house to this day now, I'll make at least 100,000. So trusting that process that, okay, it may seem like a drama at the time, and sometimes we're not going to see the lessons until maybe quite a lot later, but just trusting that, okay, there's a lesson in this, right? And being open to what is the lesson in this and trusting your intuition and moving with it. So that's just one example of where something that I saw as something really bad back then actually turned into something really great.
But knowing what you know today, how would you handle that if that same scenario repeated itself today, but now being who you are today with all the work that you've done, how would you handle that?
Well, at the time I cried for a week. I hadn't done much personal development. I didn't do Landmark till 2006, right? So this is a good 5 years before I did the Landmark Forum. Now, knowing what I do today, I think if someone ripped me off like that, I would be like, well, karma's going to come back to that person. Hurt people hurt people. And I actually look at that guy now. He was a young guy, a surfy dude. His name was Lee. He had a pregnant girlfriend. She looked about 18. And I thought, well, obviously he needed that $1,000 more than I did. That's how I would look at it now. I'd say, well, obviously he needed more than I did. And it's on his karma now that he's done that he's lied to me, he's cheated. His karma will come back tenfold to him. So now I know the laws of how the universe works, the laws of reciprocity. When we do good by someone, we do the right thing by someone, it comes back tenfold, right? If we do bad by others, if we rip others off or do think, it comes back tenfold the other way. So I don't know what's gone on and happened to Lee, but I know he was known to police at the time and he was known to government authorities, and his karma will come back to him. So that's how I would look at it now. And I did actually put a report into the police at the time. So I did all I could as far as legally reporting it and actually, keeping him accountable to what happened so that it's on record. However, I can't control whether I ever get the money back. And that's the thing with money too, is that money comes and money goes, and allowing it to ebb and flow and being generous. Maybe if I look at it, well, I gave the guy $1,000 donation. Well, that's a different thing. Subconsciously, I guess I did. I just, and the other thing is I'd look for the lessons. So the lessons for me were I didn't do my due diligence properly. There were warning signs when I got to the guy's place because he was playing cards with his friends and he was very distant. He wasn't really present with me. And, there were some dodgy signs then. But because I was a busy journalist running in and out and I sort of didn't have much time, I ignored the warning signs as well. So now in hindsight, I would just take a bit more time. Don't rush into these decisions. Learn from that experience. There's many different learnings in that one actually. And not holding a grudge, because getting that hurt people. And he was obviously a desperate young man who needed money for whatever reason. I don't know if he was on drugs or whatever the situation was, but obviously he really needed the money to do that. And that's the thing, at the time I put an ad in the paper saying professional lady looking for room to rent. And so he actually responded to my ad in the paper, which is how he found me, to say, I've got a place to rent, right? So it was very, very cheeky of him, I must say, to do that. Very cheeky. And this is the thing, there are going to be snakes out there. There's going to be people that are going to be, not so much in integrity. And there are people out there that are just not of good heart and good intentions. And I think it's important to notice that and to learn from that, because not everyone's kind to others. Not everyone's coming from that loving space. And it's often because they're hurting themselves. And we can't save everybody. We can set an intention for what we want. We can be committed to what we want, but don't be attached to what the outcome is. So I'm now looking back, that I'm so grateful for that experience, because it encouraged me to buy the house that I'm in now. And I'm also grateful for the sheep getting killed when I was 6 years of age, which was actually a Greek Orthodox tradition where family come from a long way away. They sacrifice a sheep and then they feed the meat to the poor village people. So it was actually a very noble thing. But as a 6-year-old, I wouldn't have understood even if that was explained to me. But I look back now at that sheep and I see that sheep as a symbol of the work that I've done for animals since then.
And just like one more question, like based on the law of attraction, what would you say if somebody said, "Oh, you attracted that based on the law of attraction"? How
Mm.
how do you see that?
Yeah, maybe I did attract that. Maybe it was teaching me to slow down.
Mm,
Maybe it was teaching me to slow down and not race into things and make hasty decisions. And maybe I was meant to buy the house I'm in now, which I absolutely love. I love it here now. I'm so grateful. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't have lived here for 20 years. And I mean, I've traveled 3-4 months of the year and that whole time. So even though this is home base, I still love traveling and getting out there. So maybe with the law of attraction, I attracted it to teach me that lesson, to slow down and to do my due diligence.
yeah. Well, and I now, with all the work that you are doing and still doing on yourself, obviously it's like about attracting the things that you actually want.
Yes. Yes, that's right. Attracting what I actually want. And it's interesting, the more I've been tapping into the quantum field and working with Dr. Espen, who's now my business coach, and I've invested in Dr. Espen quite a good amount of money too. So as we say, we pay attention, right? So having good mentors, having good people around you who inspire you and lift you up. The more I've been tapping into that quantum field, a lot of things have been happening a lot faster than normal. Like 2 days after I did the quantum experience with Dr. Espen, I was at a silent rally here on the Gold Coast, and a guy tripped in front of me, about 2 meters in front of me, tripped in front of me. And I said, "Oh, are you okay?" We got chatting. And as it turns out, the guy, his name was Harry. He was a former Australian federal police officer who started to talk up about the corruption that's been going on in the police force and what's been going on. And so I said, so I was really fascinated. I said, "Oh, I'd love to do an interview with you." So I did this interview with him, and I did another interview at the silent rally, which I didn't go to there to do any of that. I just went to go and participate and see what was going on. And both videos went viral on Facebook. Within a week, they both went viral, over 10,000 views, thousands of comments. So that happened within 2 days of the quantum experience after my first DMT breathwork experience. And since then, I've done a lot of different events. I've done the Quantum Advanced twice. I've been to a retreat in Cairns, Conscious Enterprise Retreat. So I've really been leaning in, just did the Quantum Wealth Mastermind. So I think the more we lean in, the more we get out as well, and the more we contribute. What you put in is what you get out. It's not like anyone has a magic pill for you, taking responsibility for your life and actually, doing the work, doing what's required. And really also focusing on the wheel of life, getting conscious to that wheel of life and, being present to that. And actually, this is from the quantum. Here we go. Here's my wheel of life here. So this is one I did at a quantum event. So we've got time and presence, physical health, mental, emotional state, financial relationships, personal development, career, vocation, spiritual fulfillment, purpose. So you can see all of them are fairly high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, time and presence, I've been working on. That's one of my lowest there, as well as financial I've been working on, and relationships. And I'm now, for the first time in over 5 years, I've just committed to a relationship as well. I'm now in a relationship, it's not official on Facebook yet. It only just happened a few days ago. But that's also been, thank you. It's been a big thing for me to commit again, right? I've had a lot of fear around intimacy with men and, learning to trust again, trust myself and to trust others, and to be in a committed relationship actually feels amazing, because for years I did online dating and it absolutely drove me crazy. I was desperate about, having children. I'm now 47. I haven't had children, but, I was desperate, sort of looking for someone to settle down with and do that with. And I think the more we look, the less we find. And sometimes we push too hard instead of just going back and just allow it, what will be, and just,
So true. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and
Right.
being present as much as possible, which comes with those practices of meditation, and listening is a really big skill that can be challenging too for a lot of people.
Yeah. For me, I would say it's been. I've gotten better though.
Yes,
Doing
yes,
this helps a lot too.
yes, absolutely. It does. It's a great skill, and it's a great gift you can give people when you listen. When you listen intently and really be with people, be present with people, because this is a big thing that's been missing, I believe, is connection. People really want connection. And when we listen and we really be present with someone, we are giving them a great gift of our presence, and having them be heard. Having people want to be heard. And everyone has a great story to share. So, let's
Very true.
support each other more in that way.
Absolutely. I love that. And I have one more question, which is I like to ask everyone who comes on, and that's, what does it mean to you to be free and fulfilled?
I love that. Be free and fulfill. Well, what it means to me is being able to do what I want when I want. That is freedom to me. And I feel very blessed. I live in Australia on the Gold Coast, in one of the most beautiful places in the world. So blessed and grateful to be here. So being free is, I believe financial freedom is really important. However, it's not everything. It definitely helps. It allows more choices, and it basically is an exchange. Finances are an exchange of energy, and so the more we contribute to others, the more we are of service, the more that comes back with financial energy in other ways. And so freedom to me is being able to go to the beach when I want to. It's being able to meditate or have a nap when I want to. And being in business, having my own business, is a great way to have freedom. A lot of people feel enslaved to their business, and that's where the trick is to outsource, right? Be like Richard Branson. He has great people around him. He doesn't do a lot himself. He doesn't check people in at Virgin, right? He has other people doing all that stuff. So surround yourself with amazing people to allow more freedom. Freedom of energy, freedom of movement. Freedom is flow for me. Fulfillment is joy. Fulfillment is love, joy, connection. It's all those things that give us goosebumps. It's fully being alive and relishing this amazing experience of life that we have in the short time that we're on the planet.
Mm.
The short time we're here, we think we have ages to do stuff. A third of people die by the age of 65. 1/3 of people die by 65. And so absorbing and enjoying the beautiful journey of life for all of its ups and downs, for all of its rounds and rounds, really making the most of life and finding what fills your cup up. That is fulfillment for me. Fulfillment is loving my life, loving the people in my life, loving the journey, and always looking for the gifts in the present.
Well said. I love that. To close it off, I want to let people know, about a little bit more about what you do, where they can find you, what you have going on right now, or anything coming up.
Thank you, Aram. Yes, I do several events online. I have a free publicity secrets masterclass that I do regularly online. It's a 4-hour online intensive teaching people how to get free publicity, how to feature in the media for the right reasons, and to get free positive publicity. And there are literally millions of media outlets worldwide where people can do this. So much opportunity. Although we don't need millions of media outlets to actually be in, right? A few strategic media outlets could be what makes the difference. One key connection can make the difference for people. So I help people be seen, heard, and known through mass media coverage online and offline. I also have a social media masterclass that I do regularly as well, and that's teaching people how to market on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. So that's also an intensive 4-hour masterclass online. And I have also, once a year, we do the Animal Action event. So there'll be another one coming up. People can see the last one on Animal Action Events Facebook page and on Media Queen TV on YouTube. And we do have a calendar. We have this beautiful Firefighters 2022 calendar to give away to the first 60 people to donate to our cause from 2021, which is SEQ Canine Rescue. And that's an amazing charity here in Brisbane, and this is the back of the calendar. Some very nice looking dogs in there. You can see Aram, some beautiful dogs, and some not bad looking human beings either. That is the biggest selling calendar, by the way, in the world. This calendar was started here on the Gold Coast. It's worth $22. First 60 people who donate to Chuffed by the end of February 2022 will get one of those and go in the draw for thousands of other prizes. So that's a once a year event that I do where I support a different charity every year. 15 performers and speakers, 7-hour live stream online. People will love watching, and it was some awesome stuff in there. Sing along to some dog songs. So we have that once a year. The Global Good News Challenge happens every single month. We start on the first Monday of the month, and all the details are pinned to the top of the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. Very simple Facebook Live challenge. As long as you hashtag Global Good News Challenge, we'll be able to find it. We can share it around as well. So it's great free promotion for you to do that, and it will lift your energy. And the challenge goes for as long as whatever number month it is. So we've just had a 1-day challenge for January. We've got a 2-day challenge in February. We'll have 3 days in March, right? So we're just easing people into it through the year, and then we'll go up to a 12-day challenge in December. So we've got that. And also I do mass media tribe events as well. We have different guest speakers with different marketing topics. So there's always lots going on online. Of course, Media Queen TV, we have over 750 interviews on there, and some amazing, inspiring interviews. We'll be interviewing you next week, which I can't wait
Yeah, I'm
for
looking
that.
forward to it.
So check that out. And all the links people will find at linktree/Aldwyn. So linktr.ee/Aldwyn. You'll see all those links I just mentioned.
Totally. And I'll make sure to link up all the links that you have into the show notes when this episode comes out. And
Fantastic.
thank you so much for being here. This was a blast talking to you and listening to you. You're just amazing, and you're doing so much good work out there. So just keep it up, Media Queen.
Thank you so much, Aram. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And if anyone's feeling called, just send me a private message if you want to have a chat as well about your media needs or anything else. Be happy to have a chat. Always love to connect with people across the world. So thank you so much for this opportunity. It's been
Thank
such an honor and
you.
blessing to
Oh, and
be here.
I see Chris Derboven, I believe, from
Oh,
Belgium.
Chris. Yes. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris. Thank you for being
Good to
here with
see
us. And
you.
that's it, everyone. Oh, I love
And
that.
I'm just going to share some love, some sending love out to everybody so that you know you are loved, you are amazing, and you are not alone. Okay. There's always support, always amazing people with you, including your ancestors. Okay. So here's to having a most amazing life, making the most of your precious time on the planet and every magical moment. Thank you so much, Aram. It's been so
I
great to
love
be here
it.
with you.
Well said. Thank you for watching, everyone. Peace out.
Peace out. Bye.